Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I have 6 albums to go through, as is the usual, so as usual, let's go through the 6 albums. I didn't have a stroke there, I just said things weird. We begin with probably one of the albums I think people were expecting me to review, Architects, with Daniel offering The Sky, the Earth, and All Between. I've seen a fair bit of discourse for this one. I don't think it's their worst album, that's still the here and now, but I'm giving this one a B+. I don't think, personally, I don't think they're going to quite hit the quality of All Our Gods or even Holy Hell again anytime soon. But, this is still a really good Architects album. Okay, the singles did a lot of the heavier lifting, but it's still a really good Architects album. Sam Carter is still a really good vocalist at the end of the day. The band still performed things well, and the riffs are still great. They had a bit more of a genty vibe, which I quite like, even though I saw a lot of reviews criticising it. The production is also good, and Jordan Fish of Bring Me the Horizon, well, formerly Bring Me the Horizon, does a really good job with the mix here. It can feel a little bit overcooked at times, but it does also do a good job making a lot of the thing feel quite bold. It just happens to fall slightly into the generic trappings in terms of its instrumentation, but I think the riffs are great. I wish there were more solos. And it's still pretty heavy and still really solid, but I think too many people are bagging on this one. It's not going to be on my own personal top 30 list at the end of the year, but it is still really solid for what it is, and considering the 3-year layoff, I think this might be the longest amount of time they've had between albums. Between, I said there. I still recommend giving it a go. Next we have Hyrax with their new album Faster Than Death. This is a sort of thrash metal band, one that formed in the 80s, then broke up, then reformed, reformed. They've gone through a fair few, and I know I specified these guys as thrash metal. I didn't say Architects are metalcore, but I didn't really think I need to explain that for them, but there you go. I'll give this one a C+, though. This is basically thrash metal album genre here. It doesn't really feel like there's a lot new for it. I mean, there's some good riffs. I wish there were more of a hardcore punk influence because it doesn't really feel like it's there enough. Lyrics I couldn't find anything for. I think there's just stuff about how good metal is and all that. It doesn't really feel super nuanced. Production, it feels weirdly undercooked for what it is. But at the end of the day, for any of these things, I can't really say I fully hate it. I think it does a good enough job. I actually like most of the riff work, and I think the band do a good job as well. But, it's just a fairly bog-standard thrash metal album to me. And it's also way too short as well. I almost was confused over whether this was an EP or not, because they released a few EPs last year. I think they dropped 2 EPs with the same name. But I think they just took the stuff from that and made it into a full album. And this is a full album. It's the shortest one from last week. And it doesn't really do enough with what it has, but it's weirdly fun for what it is, so I can't really hate on it too much. Next up, we have who is a new act to me, and I would imagine would be a new act to many people. This is Mia Folick, I hope I'm saying that correctly, with her new album Erotica Veronica. This is her third offering, if my memory serves me correctly. I'm giving this one an A. I thought this was some truly incredible stuff. She produced it along with her partner Sam KS. I don't know what the KS means, but yeah, really nicely handled. Really good flow of songs. It's a nice sort of folk rocky indie pop rock sort of vibe put together. I really like how it's handled. I think Maya's performance is probably the highlight for me. She has such really strong delivery to her voice, but I think she excels her best when she's keeping a more measured tone, and she delivers on the emotional part so well. And I really like the lyrics focusing on things like sensuality and relationships. It's basically I don't remember the name of the album it was, but it was an album I complained about the lyrics of because I felt like they were too horny. I feel like this one has the opposite problem because the lyrics are mostly sexual in nature, but they're more about positively embracing it and not just wanting to sleep with anything that moves. And it feels a bit more realistic in a way, and I kind of like that. Lyrics great, performance great, instrumentation's really good. I feel like it makes a good background for most of the album. Really good flow of pacing. I do feel like it should have ended on Love Wants Me Dead and not the song after that, the name of which I can't remember. But as it is, really solid stuff from an artist I didn't know a lot about, and if anyone's looking for a new sort of mostly solo project, well, I say mostly solo, almost entirely solo. I know her partner produced this, but I think Mia did pretty much everything else in terms of writing, instrumentation parts, writing lyrics, and did the production as well, with help. So yeah, if you want someone who's really DIY with all their stuff, someone who's just coming into their prime as well, I would recommend giving this one a spin. It actually pleasantly surprised me. Next is the other band I sort of alluded to when I was on about Architects. We have One OK Rock and their new album, Detox. I will admit, when I was looking this album up, I did have to put in the word album afterwards, because just typing in One OK Rock Detox leads to drug help rehab sites. So be mindful of that if you're going to look this one up on Google, just warning you. I'm giving this one a B+, though. I feel like this is a well-established band from Japan. I quite like them, even though I think the first full album I listened to by them was the one they dropped in 2019? No, it was a different year. But I remember the album sucked. But like since then, they've mostly been doing really good stuff. This has really good instrumentation. It's more of a punk rock vibe. This has always been like an alt rock band with hard rock tendencies, but you know they've worked in elements of hardcore and grunge and punk and traditional pop. This is more of a rock album though. Really good riffs on that front. I will say the performances are quite solid too. It's weird to think how young the band members still are as well. Like people forget these guys have been around really long. They've been doing this since they were teenagers. They're not that much older than me, I don't think. You know, but really good work there. I think the production is a bit overbearing, especially because there's a lot of fucking producers on this album. I think the band themselves are one of them, and it's mostly a guy named Roy Cavallo. I think I might be getting the first name wrong, who handles the majority of the production anyway, but also it's got co-songwriting credits from Tyler Carter, yeah, and Jason Allen Butler. Yay! We like Jason, we don't like Tyler. Still good work from the band though. The chemistry is still there, from to my knowledge. I wish there were more of a political lean with the lyrics. It doesn't really feel... I couldn't find a whole bunch, but there is some political stuff, but it doesn't really feel like they lean into it enough for me, and I feel like when the band is writing for more of punk rock sort of soul, I think they excel a little bit more. Pacing's okay for what it is. You know, it does mix in things quite well, but it doesn't really feel like too much outside of the ordinary for these guys. Production, again, good enough as it is. Mostly really solid overall. I think more of a return to form. You know, I like that it's got a heavier vibe to it, and that it goes full punk rock sometimes. I just wish they did that a bit more. Next, we have the obligatory debut of the week, and it is a band called Oversize with their first album, Vital Signs, which is a really fucking good name for a debut album, and also coincidentally an A+. Yeah, holy shit, this actually kind of blew me away. I don't know what it is, but like debuts have been mostly hit in terms of like hit or misses this year. And like while Grief Rituals Collapse is still my favourite debut album of the year so far, also a band from England, think about it, this might be my second favourite. It's a really good bit of shoegazy sort of alt metal, and I love shoegaze normally, but like when it's mixed with a different genre, I feel like it excels really nicely. And the thing, my favourite part, this album is just under 31 minutes long, right? But it gets so much done for how short it is, and the band's dedication is incredible. The lead singer, Sam McCauley, I believe his name is, has a really good, like, dark charisma to him, and really leads the pack well, but the entire band are really fucking good here. I love the lyrics focusing on themes of grief and loss and isolation. Pretty dark stuff, yes, but written very realistically feeling, and also quite nicely written too. And even with the more like dead like air between some of the words, it makes up for it when it comes back with a really good amount of emotion. Riffs are incredible too. I love the guitar work, the bass work, the drumming, and the production really helps to flesh that out. I don't remember who did the production, but it was always post editing. Jake will fix that. Really, yeah, and love the pacing as well. They get so much out of such a short album. I can't think of any complaints I have about this one, and I wouldn't be surprised if it, like, makes my top 30, or is at least considered. Yeah, really good shit. Really good shit. I heavily enjoyed it, and I think this might be a band to keep an eye out for. I think, okay, this is something I say in my review of it on Discord, and it sounds a bit mean, but I'm sticking to it. This is the kind of substance that Teenage Wrist should have with their style, and I like Teenage Wrist, but it feels like they don't leave enough of an impact with the albums that they do make. I think Oversize sort of took lessons from that and are improving upon it, but, you know, being a better version of a band I already like is not a bad thing. And finally, we have a band called Pathogenic with their new album, Crowned in Corpses. Now, I will admit, looking this one up, I was a bit trepidatious because I didn't think I would find this band's name so easily, because Pathogenic seems like a band name that would be generic as fuck, but I looked on the Talon page. There's only one other band that ever had this name, which was a band from Canada. It doesn't say when they formed, but they split up in 2011, which coincidentally was when this band from Boston, Massachusetts, put out their debut album, like their debut full length. Yeah, this is a band that's been around since 2004, and they haven't put out a lot of stuff. They didn't break up in the time between, they just haven't put out a lot of things. I'm giving this one a B plus though. This was some pretty good proggy, techie death metal bit. Well, not techie, but like proggy death metal stuff. I think the production was way too clean. I feel like that's one of the things holding it back. And I sort of like the lyrical themes of anti-religion and war, and I think that might be also another sort of shot in the album's foot, so to speak, because given the album's cover, I really wanted this to be like a fucking concept album about the the pointlessness of conquest and war. And given the album's cover, it feels like they should have gone that route, because holy shit, I would have loved to have heard a full concept album, because it's, in terms of songwriting, it's written like it is one. You know, like in terms of instrumentation, it feels like it should be one, especially considering the closing track, which is like an 8-minute long song, and the long song on the album as well. It feels like they wanted to write more of a concept album, but something was just stopping them from fully committing to it. I think the band are great, especially the drummer on this one. He does a fucking great job. I think he's the newest member of the band too. So great work from him, but great work from everyone involved as well. Yeah, production, I wish it went as clean as it sounds. It could have gone for more of a raw feel, but I think interpretation is really good. I like the guitar solo work, especially fucking metal slammy shit. I don't know if it's slammy, but metal as fuck. And yeah, good band work too. And I hope that this band releases a new album, sooner than in the next 7 years. But, we can only hope. And that'll about do it. I don't really have albums to list for next week because I haven't started gathering my stuff for March just yet. But I will tell you, obviously, my favourite album cover and favourite song. So, favourite cover goes to Pathogenics Crown and Corpses. I just really like how it looks. You know, it's got a bit of a Dante's Inferno, the video game vibe, and also I would have it as a poster on my wall. That's usually the criteria I rank it by. Favourite song goes to Vital Signs from Vital Signs by Oversize. Really great closing song for that. Just overall solid in terms of like lyricism and pacing and really good performances as well. And that's it about to do. I will see you all tomorrow for War of Attrition. Oh, it's gonna be good. The inside card's posted, it's sorted, the arena's made. I just need to get to work on some allies because it's gonna take me a fucking while. But we're gonna get to it. It's gonna be an awesome show, and I hope to see you all there. Even though people watching this probably don't watch my event shows, but it's fine. So I'll see you all, hopefully tomorrow for that. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome.